Okay, what if you had the user manual for your own mind? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're talking about Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP for short, a super powerful toolkit for understanding and maybe even upgrading the very software you use to think every single day. You know, this quote just hits you, right? It gets right to the heart of that feeling we all know so well, being stuck. You want a different outcome, a different result, but you find yourself running the same old patterns over and over. That feeling of being in a loop, that's exactly what NLP was created to address. I mean, doesn't it ever feel like your internal operating system is just a little buggy? You know the potential is there, but old habits or these limiting beliefs just keep slowing you down. It's kind of like trying to run the latest, coolest apps on a computer from 10 years ago. It just doesn't work that well. So, how do we fix it? Well, the very first step is to see our brains as running on mental software. These are the programs and strategies for pretty much everything we do. And here's the really great news. This software can totally be upgraded. Now, the real powerhouse behind all this is your unconscious mind. And don't worry, it's not as mysterious as it sounds. Think of it as your brain's super efficient autopilot. It handles all your automatic behaviors, walking, talking, those gut reactions, which frees up your conscious mind to focus on what's right in front of you. So this whole idea of mental programs brings us right to the heart of NLP. And I know, the name, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, it sounds a bit complicated, maybe a little intimidating, but I promise you, when you break it down, it's actually surprisingly simple. Let's start with neuro. This part refers to your neurology, your brain, your nervous system, and of course, your 5 senses. It's all about how you take in the raw data from the world around you, everything you see, hear, feel, smell, and taste. Next up, we've got linguistic. Now, this is all about language, both the words you speak out loud and that internal self-talk going on inside your head. It's how we take all that raw sensory data from the neuro part and start to organize it, code it, and crucially, give it meaning. And finally, programming. This refers to the patterns and strategies your mind runs on autopilot. Seriously, think of them like recipes. You've got a recipe for feeling motivated, a recipe for making decisions, you even have a recipe for procrastinating. These are your internal programs. So let's put it all together. NLP is basically the art and science of using the language of your own mind, that incredible dance between your senses, your words, and your patterns, so you can consistently achieve the outcomes you actually want. All right, now we get to what I think is a fundamental truth of NLP, a real aha moment, and it's this. None of us experience reality directly. Nope. We all operate through our own personal filter, which means we're all creating our own unique version of the world. Let me show you how that works. This right here is one of the most famous principles in all of NLP. It means that our internal representation of an event, our memory or our thought about it, is not the event itself. It's just like how a map of a city isn't the actual city, right? Your mental map of the world is just your interpretation, not the real thing. This process is so key. It all starts with an external event. Something just happens out in the world. That information immediately passes through our own unique mental filters, which then creates our personal internal map of what just happened. And it's this map, not the event itself, that drives our emotional state and what we do next. You know, to keep us from being totally overwhelmed by millions of bits of data every second, our minds use 3 really clever shortcuts. We delete what seems irrelevant. We distort information so it fits with what we already believe. And we generalize to create useful rules like, all chairs are for sitting. These filters are absolutely essential for survival, but they're also what create our unique and sometimes limiting maps of reality. Okay, so if we all have these different internal maps, how in the world can we ever truly connect with each other? Well, this is where NLP offers a really powerful tool for building bridges between our personal realities. The key is building something called rapport, that instant feeling of trust and connection. And the principle behind it is so simple. We like people who are like us. So when you can understand someone's map of the world and kind of reflect it back to them, you create this powerful sense of common ground almost instantly. One of the absolute quickest ways to build rapport is to just listen. Really listen to the language someone uses. People often reveal their preferred way of thinking, what's called their representational system, through their words. If someone says, "I see what you mean," they're probably a visual thinker. So by matching their language and saying something like, "That's a bright idea," you're unconsciously signaling that, hey, you're on the same wavelength. It's so cool. But building rapport, that's really just the beginning. The NLP toolkit is incredibly versatile, with applications in pretty much every area of life that involves communication and, well, getting things done. So it's really no surprise that people learn NLP for so many different reasons. The biggest driver, at a whopping 40%, is personal development, just wanting to upgrade their own mental software. But it's also a go-to tool in business, in coaching, in therapy, and in education, basically for anyone looking to seriously improve their communication and influence. Now, this might be the most powerful idea that NLP offers. It's a complete reframe of something we all tend to fear: failure. This is a profound shift in how we look at our mistakes and our setbacks. So often we're taught to see failure as an endpoint, right? A final judgment on our abilities. NLP totally reframes it as simply feedback. It's not personal, it's just information. It's the result you got from the mental program you just ran. And if you don't like the result, great. You now have the data you need to change your approach and try again. In the world of NLP, there is no failure, there's only feedback. And that brings us to the core belief of NLP. You are in charge of your mind, and therefore you are in charge of your results. It's not about what happens to you, it's about how you choose to process and respond to it. So that leaves us with one final and I think very powerful question. Now that you know you're the one in charge of your mind, what result will you create first?